Welcome everybody to the final round of BUSR's Winter Championship. We are here at a sunny Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia in Spain. And we are about to get underway with the final qualifying of the season. And we've got some special guests coming up to join us here for qualifying. I believe we should be able to get some of our competitors in who are going to be running today. So I bring in James White. Hello, James. I believe you are currently muted. And there is Angus Fender as well, joining us as well. So we've got Angus and James here to commentate on the final qualifying session of the season. How are you guys doing this evening?
Hello! It's been a minute.
Yeah,
I am doing
has.
very well. How are you?
Yeah, doing good. What are you thinking about when it comes to this track this evening?
It's been a faithful servant of the BUSR ACC seasons for a few years. Good little mix of corners, a pretty mixed up grid we could have as well. Driver on screen right now, Pranav Kalevala looks to be in really good form. So hopefully he can be mixing it up at the front, along with, you look in the likes of Gilroy, Jimmy Lynn, Owen Goldsmith, our regulars really. But we've also got some new faces, which is great to see for this last round.
Yes, I believe you said Jimmy Lynn, who's going to be returning. I haven't seen him in a long time. Should we be on board in this Porsche? Something that you've gotten very accustomed to, Angus, and go for a BUSR driver's eye lap around Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia.
Absolutely, sounds like a fun little thing to do. Let's do that. I shall drag the track map really quickly. So out of the final corner we come. And down the front straight we go. Cross start finish line. The revs rise, as does the noise. Up to 6th gear now. Jimmy using a setup I actually made a few days ago. So it's good, believe me. Braking just before the 100 board. Down to 3rd gear for Jimmy this time by. And then running around the outside of the edge of the curb around turn 2. Now into Renault. Keep it tight, keep it tight, keep it tight, and then let the car run out on the exit. The corner's always longer than you think it is. And then up to Repsol. Tight entry opens out through the middle. 2nd gear hit. Oh, 3rd gear for Jimmy Lynn. Big swap around. Bonk. That is a barrier, unfortunately. But that's kind of... Oh, hello. But that's a stereotypical Porsche, really, isn't it? He nearly collects another car on the process, actually. I think that may have been Conor McCullough, the fellow Porsche in this grid tonight, who was almost collected in that.
But Dinesh Gansev picks it up, so let's take it away again.
Yep, as you are. So out of Sayat now, down to Verth corner. 2nd gear on board the 296 now. Very different car, very different engine, very different sounds and styles, as you will of course be able to hear. Up now into Campsa turn 9 with that deadly gravel on the outside, waiting to catch you out on corner exit over that blind brown. Now down to turn 10, Lakaya, just before the 100 board again. Down to 1st gear, bring that nose in and avoid the track limits on the exit. Corner tightens up on you a lot, up through the hill, through 11 and into 212. Very long rolling right-hander. Just let the car wash its way out to the outside and try and stay out that gravel. Got 4 more corners to go, actually. Into the first one now, which is Europe car, and then into the final chicane. Left, right, missed the curb on the left that time by, but got it back for the right nicely. 1 more corner being New Holland. And that is 1 lap of the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia.
And that means Asher Kansev is at the top of the leaderboards. I don't know how long he's going to be staying there for, but he's got some other drivers coming across the line. Pranav Kalevala is on pole position.
What a boy. He's been a driver who's been struggling a little bit this season with the car. One of the drivers who's got slightly less experience on this ACC platform than his name should suggest, being a manager of the Visceral Esports team, of course. As across the line goes Jay Kirkham, to move up to 3rd in the Aberystwyth community of gamers. McLaren. There's Josh Lodge passing Sachin Basson down to Sector 3. A driver who won overall a couple of rounds ago back at Suzuka with some incredibly mixed weather, of course. No stream there, unfortunately, but it was an absolute barnstormer of a race right to the very end. And Josh Lodge, make no mistakes, is a driver who can really be mixing it up at the sharp end of the grid if he's able to get the right lap in.
And, I mean, I was going to go on to talk about the different title permutations there still are that are going on. Ben Gilroy goes to the top of the timesheet. But before we get to that, if you did miss out and you want to keep up with it, you can have a look at our highlights reels, and you can see what has been going on in the past few weeks, not only in ACC, but also in our other series, iRacing, F1 23, and Rally 2.0. You see Josh Lodge go into 2nd position. Yeah, Josh Lodge and yourself, Angus, could compete for the Alumni Championship, couldn't you, this evening?
We thought we could have. Unfortunately not. Drop rounds are a thing. And that means that our new alumni champion, Anna Foster, doesn't even need to contest this last round due to only missing one race before tonight. So even with that, carrying that 0, Josh Lodge and myself have missed too many races and haven't unfortunately got the chance to compete for that alumni title. So I think all of our championships are actually sewn up, but by no means does that mean we're going to have a dull race tonight. And late joiner, Cam Gold has hopped along for the final time. A driver who's had a pretty strong season by his own right. We're looking to go out with a bang in the only Lamborghini Huracan.
Yeah, it's the only Lamborghini Huracan on the grid.
There it is. Fantastic RevSport livery we've grown so accustomed to over the past few seasons. It really does stand out, doesn't it? Just the sheer variety of colours on such a sharp, aggressive-looking car, as we know Lamborghini can make. And with very little practice, I'll be surprised to see what he can... Well, I'll be very interested to see what kind of pace he can get out of this car with such little time. But he's got 8.5 minutes on the clock to get that time in. But at the moment, it's Ben Gilroy who's put in a better lap to displace Pranav Kalevala at the top of the standings, a driver who we've grown accustomed to seeing at the front of the time boards, especially in the early phases of the season this year. So it's Kalevala now who's actually dropped back down to third and needs to find some time. He did go faster than this in practice, but I wonder if the moment's just getting to him just a little bit. He's not a driver who's competed for pole much in the BUSR and is a driver that for sure had the potential and still does have the potential tonight to compete for the very, very top positions of qualifying. As we come into the final set this time by, we'll be able to see if he's able to make any improvement. A little bit wide there through Europe car and then down to New Holland, and that looks like an invalidation, unfortunately, out of the final chicane. But still 7 minutes to go, so plenty of time to find an improvement. Actually, that wasn't invalid. It was an improvement, so it wasn't invalid after all. So what do I know? Finds a 10th in himself and moves himself back onto that front row. But for sure, he is eyeing up more. He knows he's got the speed there to be on that pole position.
I don't know why Ben Gilroy's livery isn't shown, but it's one of the kind of more impressive liveries we've seen on the grid this season. I think we've had a couple of different ones for Durham coming up. And of course, Josh Lodge, a Durham alumni. Oh! That's something that Jimmy Lynn won't be wanting to do too much in the Porsche, though I think it's something that is quite normal for that car, isn't it, Angus?
Wow. Yeah, very, very twitchy, very nervous as Jimmy through the last 2 corners. He's really making that car work, isn't he? Oh, my goodness me.
And he improves.
Up to the line, he does improve, but that looked like a big ask, didn't it? It looked like a very tall order for Jimmy, the returning driver for this season. Yeah, he definitely has work cut out controlling that car.
And Sachin Basson is going to be... it's the only appearance this season Sachin's been able to have. And I think the last appearance Sachin had was... Was it here at Barcelona as well?
It was indeed. And he was saying beforehand that this race is very personal to him. Not because of any kind of like nostalgic reasons. Well, I guess it is nostalgic. But he managed to accumulate 9 BWP the last time he came here, which was the last time he raced in the BUSR. So hopefully he won't be repeating the same feat tonight. But it's always good to see these drivers returning, especially our summer season reigning and defending champion. We know he's going to lose that title after this race. It's the first race he's done this season, but here is the number 1. Conor McCullough is back, everyone, and hopefully looking to do some good things and get a time on the board later in the session.
That's invalid straight away, though, isn't it?
Oh, I'm not sure. Unless he's running all 4 tyres on the green down to turn 1, I think he's okay. 2 tyres on the curb is all right.
Yeah, I think he had all 4 tyres on the green there.
Oh dear. Well, that's not a very reigning championess performance, and he's very close to track limits again, actually, going through turn 3, and that is definitely invalid. Interesting lines, Connor. That's not quite what you're meant to be doing with that one, but he'll go back to the pits and have another go.
I was wondering if you're able to hear anything from James, because I can't hear James going through. James, are you there?
James is the muted.
Yeah, he did message me to say, oh, that might be a bug for my Discord, but yeah, I don't think I can hear him.
Yeah, and I can't hear him either. I think he was messaging me before saying, do you fancy going down to broadcast for quali? Now, I don't think he meant, do I want to go down and commentate for quali? but he's here regardless and watching the action along with the rest of us. Whether he talks or not is yet to be seen. But who knows? He could just be going and grabbing a drink or something like that whilst watching away from the action in the voice channels down below. As Ben Gilroy's found more time out on track, actually, 43.5. He was complaining about not quite being able to compete, actually, before this session. That should put that doubt to bed, shouldn't it? 43.5, a very, very competitive time.
Yeah.
And that actually may prove a bit of a challenge to myself and James White in this voice channel to actually even catch Ben Gilroy in the race.
Well, I mean, you have, 75 minutes with a fuel stop. So it is definitely doable. Plus, I believe in practice you said a 43 flat, as in .000. But what's interesting for me now is looking at who's the second fastest McLaren, and it's Kieran Nellums. And that will be a really great end to the season for Kieran, who has been a lot of fun to have around. I mean, I was racing at Mazzano, and I remember just having a lot of fun with Kieran on the track, including when he decided to cut across the track and do the most bizarre reenactment of Through Goes Hamilton, let's say.
Yes, quite.
And also killing me at the start of race 1.
Fond memories then. No, he is a fantastic character, and this is his first season on a racing wheel, let's not forget. So he's learning all the time, very new to this Assetto Corsa Competizione platform. So he's learning on the job and has really started to show his colours as the season's gone on. He's found his form, and he's mixing it up with the likes of Owen Goldsmith and Jimmy Lynn. Not with lines like that, but he will return to the pits and have another go. But Owen Goldsmith and Jimmy Lynn, in fact, the two drivers either side of Nellums, both very established drivers in their own right. Owen for the F1 leagues in seasons past, recently jumped over to the Assetto Corsa Competizione platform. And Jimmy Lynn as well, he's always been here. It's a very solid foundation of the ACC seasons, a race winner a couple of times, I do believe, back when the Bentley was somewhat competitive.
Yeah.
But trying something new, and you couldn't really get much more different from a Bentley than a Porsche. It's basically you've picked the car up, turned it around the other way, and sent it out on track.
Meanwhile, Charlotte Perkins is someone else who's trying out something different, having switched to the McLaren, being a almost kind of lifelong Ferrari fan, apart from that stint in which she drove the Lexus. And it'll be interesting to see how Charlotte fares in the final round of the season. Right now, it's looking like she'd be second place in alum, and it's weird to see because I think most of the season's been quite balanced between alum and students. How many more students we got than alum for this finale? But it's nice to see that, given that for people who are caring about their BUEC points, it is the Students' Championship, which is all that matters.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. It's great to see the arrival of some new faces and some returning faces we know from the university student world. As the season's gone on, we have had more student competitors, but of course we're also missing the likes of Jack Noller, Marley Watts. I think Jonah Turner is still a student, in fact, so he would have added to the student roster. But yes, but there's still plenty of drivers out there who unfortunately are not with us tonight, but we've got some great action out of them so far this season, and we can look forward to plenty more in seasons next, can't we?
Yeah, and it's going to be really good to see what we do next season going into 2024, because whilst this is the new academic year, next year will be the new calendar year, and though I don't think we'll get it in time for the we might get it in time for the summer season, I doubt that we would, have a race on the recently announced Nordschleife in BUSR. Normal Nürburgring is bad enough for us. Could you imagine? Student Championship at the Nordschleife.
Oh, goodness me, yeah. Having seen our BUSR channel trailer, cars can fly, and they will definitely fly at the Nürburgring Nordschleife if we ever do go there. Back aboard with Pranav Kalevala into the last chicane. He's got it a bit deep there. That's going to ruin that lap for him, lose him a chunk of time. And he's going to dive for the pits, not with enough fuel to do one more lap. So then eyes back to Josh Lodge, Jimmy Lynn, to try and upset the 1-2-3 Visceral Esports manager for that front row spot on the starting grid.
Yes, and I think Cameron Gold has just gone off, so that's the end of his qualifying run. Is the next car that that's Ben Gilroy. It is currently 1/10 down on the Delta, 2/10 down. I don't know if if our champion elect is going to be able to improve.
No,
Go quite
he's backed off
slowly,
there.
no. So I guess the next
Passing pit entry by the looks of it.
is probably going to be Jay Kirkham's just gone off as well. That means the next person is going to be Charlotte Perkins.
Final sector time, back up the hill. Incredibly technical, difficult part of the track. This, of course, still using the old layout of the circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, before they decided to ditch the awful chicane and replace it with 2 sweeping right-handers for the end of the lap. God, I wish we could do that on this platform. It would be so much better for the flow of the track. But Charlotte Perkins negotiated it pretty well that time. Navigated those last few corners very, very well up to the line. Will it be an improvement?
Up to 5th.
And she goes to 5th. Only 0.3 of a second found her 3 places. So that midfield, again, proving to be incredibly, incredibly tight. Astrakantsev does not improve on his final lap.
Oh, Owen
Back down to Owen Goldsmith. Here we go. We're going to have to watch this timing screen. Will it challenge the top 4? It's going to be very, very tight and not quite. Just falling shy of Jimmy Lin right to the death, but he'll be happy with that lap, that's for sure.
Yes, he will. Thank you for joining us, Angus. And
not a problem.
We'll be seeing you on track, so enjoy.
Thank you very much. Always a good laugh. I shall speak to you a little bit later.
Nobody likes being left out. That's why Special Effect are helping people with physical disabilities to play video games. But this isn't just about having fun. The gaming setups we create are personalised, so people can play to the very best of their abilities. And that opens the door to inclusion and independence, confidence and creativity. Help us level the playing field and create more magical gaming moments. Because it's everyone's turn to play.
And with 2 minutes to go, we are about to get underway with the final round of the BUSR Championship. I figured, why don't we bring in somebody who has put their car up on the front row for this? Let's see if we can get a word with Pran Kalevala. Hello, Pran. How are you doing? We've just been hit by a pan because you've summoned this here. Commentary booth. Don't think we have a Pran. Do we have Owen Goldsmith? That'll be a good. Hello, Owen.
Hello.
How have you been finding that for qualifying?
Oh my god, I am sweating buckets. No, didn't expect that. Not at all.
And you found a lot of time in that final chicane. Was it just that one lap came together, or was it that you were trying a few times to hit the mark before you got it?
Yeah, just trying a few times. I mean, yeah, just tires were in optimum window. Fuel was as low as I could possibly get it. Yeah, just car came alive. There was definitely more time to be found in there. Just I think I was overdriving a tiny bit and nerves and adrenaline to get across. But no, I'm happy with that, and hopefully the future's looking bright for the race.
Excellent. Well, good luck with that, Owen, and I hope you get a good end to your season.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Don't believe we're going to hear from Pran Kalevala, sadly, for this one, so... Here we go. Final round of the BUSR season. Don't know where Cam Gold's off to. And hello to Purple Goose in our chat. I hope you're looking forward to seeing this finale. Yes, we have Ben Gilroy from Fran Calavar in the front row with Josh Lodge and Jimmy Lynn alongside on row 2. Then it is Owen Goldsmith and Charlotte Perkins, followed by Kieran Nellums and Cam Gold. That's the halfway point of our grid. Behind them we have Danila Astrakantsev and Sachin Bassan, Jay Kirkham and Angus Fender. Then at the back of the grid we have James White being followed by our returning and outgoing champion, Conor McCullough. If you're new here, then welcome to British University Sim Racing. You can get involved in the action by following us at BUSR Official on Instagram or Twitter X. And you can join in on the goodness at busr.gg/discord, where you can access the chats, hang out with our members, talk about the real world of motorsport, any other gaming, and get involved in some of our fantastic community events. We run our main series for university students and alumni, as well as one-off public events, such as Manhalf 6 Hours of Paul Ricard for Aaron. I believe we should be going double file up towards the front of this grid. Out in front of Ben Gilroy, a familiar sight, clean track, open racecourse. Making sure he's in the right positions to go to the RACC chicane. Meanwhile, at the back of this, Conor McCullough has just managed to line himself behind Angus Fender. Two of our champions here at the BUSR. Angus Fender has been running without TC most of the season. And as the Helicam is at the back, is going to jump to the front. 1 hour and 15 minutes. One mandatory pit stop. It all comes down to this. It's all the cards on the table. It's every single bet. It's lights out and away they go. We go green in Catalunya. Calavala and Lodge side by side. It's almost 3 wide with Jimmy Lynn. And here we have Owen Goldsmith making a run. Down through the middle. Lodge gets into the lead. A fantastic start for Josh Lodge. As Gilroy fights back through the second part of the corner. Let's have a look further back in the pack. And we have 3 wide there with Gold getting a bit loose, tagging Perkins. The Astrakantsev around as well. But back up towards the front, we have Gilroy being chased down by Lodge, being followed by Kalevala, by Goldsmith, by Lynn. And what this means is if you are the likes of Jay Kirkham, you are currently seeing Jimmy Lynn whilst Kieran Nellums is battling behind you. Josh Lodge is applying the pressure very early on onto Ben Gilroy. Be interested to see how these strategies unfold under the rest of the race. Meanwhile, Charlotte Perkins is being followed by Angus Fender. Fender looking towards the outside there. But not much doing with it. Meanwhile, is that Lodge looking to the inside of Gilroy going to Lakaya. They're side by side. They're going to make contact. It's a very tight corner, but they've managed to make it work. Fair play to both drivers. Battling for the lead in this fantastic finale. Oh, and over the sausage curve. That's not going to do well for Lodge's Ferrari. The 2 Durham drivers, first and second at the end of the first lap. With Fran Calavana still running in that podium position in third. Meanwhile, Angus Fender's got it through on Charlotte Perkins. And James White is going to try and make it 2 overtakes in as many laps on the former driver from Coventry, now alum. Oh, Charlotte tries to get back out from underneath White, but to no avail. Meanwhile, it looks like Gilroy's managed to open up a bit of an advantage over Josh Lodge. The gap is now 9/10 of a second. But the gaps between each of the top 5 is less than a second, and Jimmy Lin appears to have set the fastest lap on the first lap of the race. It's nice to see some variety up at the front. Even though we have 2 Ferraris in second and third, it's an alum and a student. It is Sussex versus Durham. Can't really get too far apart in the country without leaving England. But this top 5 is nicely close together. One mistake from any of them, and it's a position change. Meanwhile, White's looking to the outside of Kirkham. The Aberystwyth driver, there's a light bit of contact, and Charlotte Perkins is looking to get back through. I think that means that Fender is through on Kirkham and on Kieran Nellums. There's a bit of a trade forming up behind. Let's see if we can have a look off the rear wing of the car. And there's James White and Charlotte Perkins. Cam Gold going for a defensive line against Conor McCullough there. Also just missing a braking opportunity. You might see a couple of battles positioned down this pit straight. You can already see White alongside Kirkham. What's going to happen here between these 3 cars? Connor looks to the inside, but he's going to run out of space because that's going to get tighter and tighter. He's on the grass. He's keeping it in. It's 3 wide. There's contact. Gold loses out. Perkins is cutting across the track. Oh my, that was so close. I have a feeling there's going to be a penalty go the way of Charlotte Perkins for that. Meanwhile, Owen Goldsmith's got a tight battle with Jimmy Lin. And now the fastest lap of the race, well, it goes to Angus Fender. Can we be surprised? Worthy champion of seasons past in BUSR. Of course, he was up in the commentary booth this evening. Not going to be champion in the Student Championship this season. Only done a part-time season. But that's life. That's racing. Ben Gilroy. It's almost like hot lapping for the UEG first sim racing driver. The number 34 car is 1.776 clear of Rev Sports driver Josh Lodge. Also a Durham driver, this one alum. Just shows fantastic pace that Ben has shown over the course of the season, and also the improvements that Josh has had. Josh has always been one of the faster drivers in the ACC, but now he is a constant front runner. As we see this almost truly trained Angus Fender is on the back of it. Jimmy Lin could be about to lose 5th position to Angus Fender. There's Brad Calavala. Is that Sachin Bassett leaving the pits? It is. But Angus down the inside into turn 1. He was going to try and fight back, but to no avail. Angus knows how that Porsche is going because, as he said in the commentary booth, he's the person who made the setup for that car, so he knows its strengths and weaknesses. Now, sights going to be set on Owen Goldsmith, and looking back from the rear wing of the BMW M4, which Angus Fender will know very well. Of course, having driven it in the real world as well as in the simulator. It's going to be a nice battle to watch. Owen is good at defending. Now, BMW is easy to defend with, but Angus Fender makes it almost look easier to overtake. Will Goldsmith try to fight back through Campsa? No, the Audi is already well clear of the BMW. Meanwhile, Jay Kirkham and Cam Gold are going to be battling. Are they going to try and go side by side from Campster? They are. Gold going to make that work? Looks like he could. Now it's going to be all about the breaking down to Lakayo. We see Asher Kantsev and Conor McCullough in the background. Kirkham holds on to the position. Cam Gold's going to try and get a cutback, switch back from underneath, but with this closing apex corner, that's going to be tricky to do. They are side by side. They're still side by side. I think there might have been some light contact there. Kirkham managed to keep gold behind. Meanwhile, Angus Fenn is going to be trying to make a move for his friend Pranav Kalevala. What's going to happen to turn 1? Will the Ferrari fight back against the Audi? No. Angus managed to make himself far enough alongside that it was almost an easy move. And speaking of moves that could look easy, here we have the Lamborghini versus the McLaren yet again. Ashton Kutcher and the Ferraris thinking about going down the inside. In the end, no avail, and Kirkham's off. Just across the Astro doing a relatively safe rejoin, especially considering what Charlotte Perkins did. She is now sadly retired from the race. And as has Sachin Vasan, meaning we're down to 12 drivers. Here we have Angus Fender already up into P3. Here's another defense. Colin McCullough's going to try and go through an Ashton Kutcher. Oh! I think we're going to have a bit of a replay of that one. Let's see it from McCullough. Went for a bit of a lunge. I don't know if Ashton Kutcher saw the Porsche there. Position certainly has gone the way of the University of Birmingham graduate. And also graduate of the University of Lincoln. Now Goldsmith and Lynn continue to battle away behind Fran Kalevala. Need to be careful going over the sausage curb there. Not skateboarders, we're not trying to do a little ollie on that. Or to grind it. And Goldsmith is lucky that he's still quite clear of Jimmy Lynn. Not alongside, but they are half a second apart. Meanwhile, Angus Fender is getting closer and closer to that leading Durham duo. Josh Lodge being right behind Ben Gilroy. Oh, and here we go. James White cleared up to the back of Jimmy Lynn. We have front engine versus rear engine versus mid engine. BMW versus Porsche versus Ferrari. Lynn gets a bit loose. We saw that happening in qualifying. And that has meant that James White could gain another position here. Started from the back of the grid. Right away up through the pack. Meanwhile, further back, Conor McCullough is trying to get past Cam Gold, but that Lamborghini is putting on a stellar defence. Let's jump back to this battle though, because it could be close between White and Lynn. They are side by side right now. Question is someone going to be... No, they're both brave. Is someone going to be the gentler driver and back off? But it looks like White managed to get through around the outside through Kamsa. Going to Lakaya, takes a deep line. Almost like a bit of a dive. There's nobody to dive there because Goldsmith is still a couple attempts clear. In fact, nearly a second clear at that split. You have Jay Kirkham is off. I wonder how that's been caused. Oh, it's just getting rid of the curve and settling the car, and around she goes. Well, looking back at Owen Goldsmith. That gap appears to have fanned out a little bit. Meanwhile, Angus Fender is right up at the bumper of Josh Lodge. At the start of the race, Angus Fender was saying, oh, there's every chance that I won't be able to match what Ben Gilroy's doing. Ben's fastest lap of the race is a 44.2. Angus Fender's last lap was a 44.1. In fact, it's 44.3 what Ben's fastest one is. That's not to matter because Angus Fender's fastest lap of the race is a 43.8. While Jay Kirkham gets a 5-second time penalty. Well, that's for involvement in an earlier incident. Here we have this battle going on and on. I believe there's been a change of position though in the battle between Gold and McCullough. I think that Conor McCullough has just moved up into P9. But this is a battle for second place. We're watching Angus Fender hunting down Josh Lodge. Audi versus Ferrari. Josh tries to defend the inside. Angus then goes to the outside. Braver on the brakes, leaves the space, and around the outside Angus Fender goes. I can confirm that Jay Kirkham was given a 5-second time penalty for collision with car number 21, James White. Meanwhile, for the collision with car number 9, that is Angus Fender, Charlotte Perkins received a 10-second time penalty. There is an incident underway involving, well, it was Conor McCullough, Cam Gold, and Charlotte Perkins. That's currently being looked at by the stewards. I believe it's going to be a no further action from what I see, probably because it ended Charlotte Perkins' race. Have a look further back because I think the Goldsmith and White battle has just gone the way of James White. Sadly, we've missed that one. I believe it was probably done in a similar way to the overtake on Jimmy Lynn. And James White, not quite the ACC veteran that Angus Fender is, but certainly willing to step up to that mantle. It's brilliant seeing James come up through the ranks in ACC. And I've been talking to him a few times around this event. It's one of the brilliant things about BUSR as a community. And it's great to see so many of these names from so many different walks of life come together and share their expertise. It's one of the beauties of sim racing as well. As we see Jimmy Lynn and Owen Goldsmith continue to battle away. For those of you just tuning in, welcome to the final round of the BUSR ACC Winter Championship to our partners NSC and SimGrid. This is a race around the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya in Montebello, Spain. And we are about to hit the 20-minute mark of this 75-minute race with one mandatory pit stop. To recap where we've been at, Ben Gilroy led off from pole position and continues to lead the race, so he's being chased down by Angus Fender, who started down towards the back of the grid. We had a relatively eventful start, though also relatively clean. A couple of incidents coming in to shape the battles throughout the grid. Had 2 retirements so far, as drivers want to end their season on the highest note that they possibly can. We're currently following a battle between the returning Jimmy Lynn and a highly active and up-and-coming talent in Owen Goldsmith. That has been going on throughout the race, with gaps epic and flowing. And right now, I believe it is the closest gap on track. Meanwhile, I see Colin McCullough has been given a 5-second time penalty. Get more information on that in a moment. We'll just see what the battle's going to be like going down into the first corner. Stays relatively the same. Now back to McCullough. Conor McCullough receives a time penalty for collision with Nila Ashrakantsev, the number 69. That was the collision we saw at turn 5. Judges have ruled the T wasn't sufficiently alongside when he made his move to do the overtake. Meanwhile, we have 2 Ferraris further up the field who are going to be battling away, Fran Calavala and James White. Fran qualified on the front row, 2nd place for the student. And he could still get a class podium at the end of this. He's showing fantastic pace, the manager for Visceral Esports, who was actually at the SRO prize-giving award ceremony not too long ago, mixing it with some of the fastest people in the world of sim racing and the real world of motorsport. And in fact, Fran is currently the closest to the Delta out of any of the drivers we have on track. James White, whose personal best is 9/10 faster than Fran, will be trying to hope to make that move soon. James was one of our favourites of the Student Championship and the overall honours going into the season, but as we see him go to the inside and cleanly through on Fran. Series of unfortunate events went on throughout the season, costing him the championship. Meanwhile, the battle between Goldsmith and Lynn is still agonisingly close. believe we've lost another competitor from the race. That looks to be Jay Kirkham. Well, I believe Conor McCullough and Cam Gold are still battling away. Still separated by less than a second. And behind Fran Calavala, the Goldsmith-Lynn battle is heating up. There's been a mistake for Fran last couple of laps. He may have lost 1.7 seconds in the lap. While behind Josh Lodge, we have an eager James White. That was a fantastic move there from James White. The UE driver making a nice move on Josh Lodge of Durham. Well, just behind we can see Fran Calavala, and this battle between Goldsmith and Lynn started to get even hotter. Oh, and that's wide from Goldsmith. That opens the door for Jimmy Lynn. Will there be an overtake? They are side by side into Lakaya. I've seen that Ben Gilroy has pitted. I completely slipped my radars there. That makes him the first driver to pit, and he is back out just in front of Dylan Ashton-Kansev. And here we go. Back for more. Jimmy Lynn and Owen Goldsmith. Oh, and here we have Cam Gold leaving the pits. Jimmy Lynn going a bit deep into the first corner in an attempt to get past Owen Goldsmith. Josh Lodge, meanwhile, is in the pits. Let's see how long it takes the Durham driver to leave. Where is his stablemate? Ben Gilroy is coming through the final couple of corners. Should expect to see that Ferrari being dropped any second now. There we go. I think that must have been a slow start for Josh Lodge. I wonder if he took tyres. I wonder if Gilroy did not. But we're back to this battle. See Cam Gold in the background. He's not on the same lap as these two. Jimmy Lynn is trying to find any which way to get past this incredibly wide BMW M4 GT3. I believe I see Pran Cannavale coming into the pits, as does Angus Fender, who took the lead when Ben Gilroy pitted. And Owen Goldsmith is following suit. That means that Jimmy Lynn is going to inherit second place, and into the lead is James White. And this will be the telling moment. Where will Ben Gilroy come out relative to Angus Fender? And will Fender take a different strategy to the Durham driver and champion-elect? Kieran Nelms will definitely be happy to be running a high of 6. And I believe that could even be, yeah, I think that will be the top 3. Now that we have so many people in the pit lane. Where is Angus Fender? He's still in his box. Where's Ben Gilroy? He's coming across the start-finish line. Fender has not been dropped off the track yet. There he is. And we are set for a fantastic showdown. Kieran Nelms in the McLaren is up into 3rd place. James White is leading, and Jimmy Lynn is in 2nd. Oliver McCullers come into the pits. Meanwhile, Cannavale is still clear of Goldsmith. Man on mission now is going to be Jimmy Lynn. In clear air. We'll see if he's got the pace to get past that BMW driver, and if he can hit his marks in the pit stop. Right now, the closest battle on track will be between Goldsmith and Cannavale at 1.5 seconds at the last split. Currently showing close to 2 on the live deltas. think I know where a lot of eyes going to be. As I see, Josh Lodge has just received a drive-through penalty. Is that for track limits? Must be, because I failed to see how he would have gotten a drive-through otherwise. That's such a shame for a German driver. However, for another German driver, it's crunch time. Will he be able to match his personal best early in the race? Angus Fender has, and according to the Delta, could be set to surpass it. James White is in. So that clear air has managed to get him closer to the lead battle in the Ferrari. Means that screaming Porsche of Jimmy Lin, now our race leader. I believe we're now in the second half of the race. All but one car has stopped. Kieran Elms is also into the pits. And Angus Fender is just set a 1:44.1. 4 times quicker than Ben Gilroy. That battle is going to be heating up in these closing stages of the race, as that gap continues to go down. Meanwhile, where's James White? Clear of Josh Lodge. We'll have to serve that drive-through. Well, Pran Calavala is well clear of Owen Goldsmith. The question is, how will Jimmy Lin react? Last lap was a 45.8. Pran Calavala is a 44.8. Retro Aficionado's Porsche 727 dives into the pit lane. This is our final scheduled stop of the season and the calendar year for USR. See if he hits his marks. Should do quite nicely. See where he comes back out in a moment. Josh Lodge will have to set for that drive through soon. It looks like he'll be battling with Nellums on exit. There we see the number 76 going down the pit lane. Second time. Jimmy Lin, I believe, has been dropped off of his jacks. London lead has sadly come to an end. Where will he be? Off limiter, Calavala's through. Is Goldsmith? No! Jimmy Lin's managed to make the overtake on Owen Goldsmith through the pit window. That BMW driver is trying to look around the outside of turn 1. Worth an attempt, wasn't it? Now that Porsche needs to get his tyres up to pressure really quick, because Owen's managed to get his up to pressure. Now Jimmy Lin will be under pressure. For anybody joining us just now, welcome to the final round of BUSR's ACC Winter Championship. I'm Cav, and we are watching Jimmy Lynn and Owen Goldsmith battling away for 5th place and for 4th in the students category. For a bit of a rundown throughout the race, Angus Fender, who's currently running in 2nd position and hunting down Ben Gilroy. 2nd faster than the leader in the the previous lap. Started at the back. He's been charging his way through the pack. Meanwhile, Gilroy was the pole sitter, our champion-elect in the student and overall class, and is looking to end the season on yet another high. James White also started towards the back. He now runs in 3rd place in the UEC Stags car. Meanwhile, Pran Kalevala rounds out the podium in the student class. It's fantastic form for the Visceral Esports team manager and the Sussex University driver in that 1-2-3 Ferrari. Jimmy Lynn is returning to BUSR after a prolonged break and is battling against one of our up-and-comers, Owen Goldsmith, best known for his runner-up positions in the F1 Championship. Meanwhile, Josh Lodge, who was competing for the Alumni Championship alongside Angus Fender against the actual champion Anna Foster, is running 2nd in that class, with 7th overall, having had to serve a drive-through penalty track limits. That's where we have Kieran Nellums in 8th place. Cameron Gold, after some early incidents, running down in 9th. The returning Conor McCullough also caught up in several incidents, 10th. And rounding out our runners is Danila Astrakantsev, number 69 Ferrari. Our retirements on the 2nd lap of the race. We lost Charlotte Perkins. We also lost Sachin Bassett very early on. And Jay Kirkham also retired from this one. Had 14 starters in this event. 11 cars still running. Closest gap on track is still in this battle between Goldsmith and Lynn, and that is a lot of oversteer there for the BMW driver. You would have expected that from a rear-engined Porsche, but no. We have a battle heating up for the lead now. Have a look at this. Angus Fender has found 9 tenths of a second in the previous lap. And all of a sudden, the rear wing of this McLaren... you see an ever-growing white Audi. Oh, this could be it. This really could be it. Fender looks to the outside. Gilroy puts a solid defence in. He looks to the inside. No avail. Is he going to be able to get the run down the back stretch? Go to the inside, Lakaya. Forces the situation. They're still side by side. They're still side by side. They'll try and get under him going into the final chicanes. He is, but also some opportunity there for Angus Fender. Angus goes a little bit over the curve in the first part of our ACC, but he's trying to line up the shot and get the maximum momentum down the pit straight. He moves round the outside and down the inside of Angus Fender so far down the pit straight this race. And into turn 1. Here we go. Here's another one. Side by side. Fender on the inside. Gilroy on the outside. He's going to switch back for turn 2. Keep it clean. Fender gets loose, but he's through. We have a back box up to the dash to Kansev. Will this influence the lead battle? No, it will not. Or getting out of the way of the McLaren and the Audi. Quite nicely. Conor McCullough is into the pits. I wonder if this is a second pit stop or a retirement from the race for our outgoing champion. What I do know is this lead battle is still definitely close. It looks like McCullough's back out on track. The Gilroy trying to follow Angus Fender and look for another opportunity to take that lead back. We have a yellow flag in Sector 1. That Astrakadsev is. Been too hot going into turn 4. Nice turn around to get back onto the track. Gilroy isn't leaving Agnes Fender alone though. We are still separated by less than half a second. Will that look like a bit of a mistake from Gilroy? A bit loose, perhaps? Here we have another battle opening up, so it looks like that lead battle could be cooling off for the final few laps of the race and of the season. Jimmy Lin battling against Pran Kalevala here. Here we go. Battle for the student podium. Jimmy and Pran again. 10 minutes to go on the race. 10 minutes to go on the season. Who went out for 4th place here? Now, it is worth pointing out the impressive feats these drivers have gone through to get here. Jimmy Lin last season was competing from over in Canada, straight out and back. Fran Calavala competing on a laptop with his steering wheel. Shows the absolute dedication that some of our members have. And how really anybody can get involved in BUSR. You can head over to busr.gg/discord as I see that Ben Gilroy is close in a bit on Angus Fender, with the Oxford Brooks alum losing 1.5 seconds on the previous lap. Oh, that's a moment from Pran, and could Jimmy capitalise on this? Think about the inside. He's looking for the inside. Pran tries to defend the inside. Only really make one massive defensive move, though. And still manages to hold on. Meanwhile, up at the front, we can see the top three all within the same camera shot there. Gap being 0.5 second. So this is a battle that a lot of eyes have been on for most of the second half of the race. Because whilst Fender and Gilroy have both taken their fair share of wins in the BUSR, Fran, I believe this to be a first-class podium. I believe it was also a first front row start in BUSR competition. It'll be tough to hang on for these final few laps, but if you can do it, it'll be really worth it. Meanwhile, this battle is getting even tighter now. 2 attempts across the last timing line. We have Lodge and Colour not for position, but it is close. Then where's Calavala? Calavala's off! Got off. Was there contact there between the two cars? Shea puts an end to an otherwise fantastic battle and it puts eyes back up at the front. The final handful of laps of the season. goes to defend the inside. Do you think that Gilroy will have a run? If you did think that, he was wrong. Gap is going down all the more to James White. The advantage James got relative to those two drivers on the previous lap, oh, it's between 7 and 8 tenths of a second. We have 3.5 minutes to go. That should be 3 more laps for our drivers, perhaps 4. It will be 3 more laps for our front running trio here. Separated by just over a second, the last timing beam. And at this one as well. Could be a battle that decides second place behind Angus Fender. Let's go on board with James White. Oh, that's a mistake. Oh, and a bit of a bump. He backs out enough to try and avoid massive contact. Could that be the gap that Angus Fender needs, though? A little bit wide again from Ben through the final corners. A bit of a slide from James might be about to cost him. 2 laps to go. And this is the battle that's heating up. It is a battle that, in theory, could change the outcome of the race for the winners. But right now, it's a battle for second between Ben Gilroy and James White. Angus Fender, less than a second up in front. And one of our pre-season favourites is going to be trying to get one up on the champion-elect. Here we are, bumper to bumper. They go round the final corner and on to the final lap of the race, the final lap of the season. Angus Fender from Ben Gilroy from James White. To our overall podium, you could throw a massive tarpaulin over the three of them. Three different manufacturers from three different countries, but here for one final race, one final lap. Gilroy gets loose, White to the inside. 21 through on the 34, he is. A flash of the light from the McLaren driver and our champion-elect. Gonna try and fight back through these final few corners. Angus Fender opens up a gap of 1.5 seconds. But it's wide from White. Can Gilroy get back through? Gonna try and get a run. Not possible. Next big overtaking opportunity is going to be into the hairpin and Lakaya. Defender through. See second and third place through. What way is it going to look? Going into the hairpin. It's close, but it's still White. Gilroy unable to get alongside. Now into the final sector of the race. The final sector of the season. Angus Fender's gap is 2 seconds. Here we are into the chicane for the final time. Angus Fender through. James White through. Ben Gilroy through. A 5-second time penalty for James White. And for Angus Fender, it's going to be yet another win. Second place on track for James White. Second place overall for Ben Gilroy. Our champion ends on fine form. Jimmy Lynn going through the final couple of corners to get third place in the Student Championship and P4 overall. And in 5th place, after Jimmy Lynn, it will be our driver of the day. Front row man. Top 5 in class and overall. Pranav Kalavala for Visceral Esports. Well done to the Sussex man. Owen Goldsmith rounds out the season with 6th place. And I believe our next car across the line is going to be Danila Astrakantsev. Well done making it to the end for our rally champion again. What it with 2 rounds to spare. An incredibly impressive feat. And it's Josh Lodge. Side by side with Conor McCullough. What could have been for these two drivers? An alumni favourite and our outgoing champion. And that's our last 2 drivers to end the race. Kieran Nellums. Well done from Captive. Cam Gold. Thank you for watching, everybody. We'll be back with interviews in a moment after a word from our supporters.
Nobody likes being left out. That's why Special Effect are helping people with physical disabilities to play video games. But this isn't just about having fun. The gaming setups we create are personalised, so people can play to the very best of their abilities. And that opens the door to inclusion and independence, confidence and creativity. Help us level the playing field and create more magical gaming moments. Because it's everyone's turn to play.
Here we are for some highlights. See if we can get some of our top finishers in for a quick word to wrap up the season. I believe they're currently headed into a debrief with our race organiser Alexa Gates. Thank you to our fantastic team of race organisers who have arranged yet another brilliant season for the USR. laps of the race start, and there was the contact that we saw. Angus Fender being the biggest beneficiary from it. Hello to Pran, who is showing up as muted on my end. Hello, Pran.
Hello.
And
How are
you were the driver for the day today. Front row, nearly a podium. How does that feel?
Yep. I mean, this race was probably the most stressful race I've ever done. Having to deal with the tyre wear of the Ferrari, which was brutal towards the end, was incredibly difficult and quite mentally straining. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy that I qualified in front row, and I'm happy that I was in contention for a podium throughout the race. I mean, I don't really race that often, and when I do, I often tend to be a bit of a bottle job. So I'm happy that this time round I managed to come through and actually get a solid result for once.
And just to explain to our viewers, I believe you play on a laptop?
I do. I play on a 14-inch laptop and a G29 that's desk mounted. That's what I'm running with.
So really showing that anybody from any kind of ability, with any kind of peripherals can compete in BUSR. Now, what's your plan over the off-season? And will you be back in the new year?
Well, is the Pope Catholic? Of course I'm going to be back. Easy. Of course I am, because, yeah, I mean, I feel like I have something to prove in a way. Being back, I feel like, because I didn't do that many rounds this time round. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just looking to try and improve myself, and BUSR has done exactly that. And it is a fantastic platform for anyone like who's starting the game or is, reasonably proficient to come in and perform. Like I did it, and people here can as well.
Thanks for joining us, Pran, and see you again soon.
Thank you, mate.
Next up, we'll hear from our race winner, Angus Fender. Well, we heard from you in qualifying. How did you find the race?
Yeah, it was an interesting one. Obviously, starting from the back, you're kind of on the back foot to begin with, but managed to navigate the first few laps relatively cleanly. Got a little bit of a bonk at the back early on, which gave me quite a lot of damage. Hence the early stop, which was not in the plan, but the pace was really good after that, so I was able to catch up quite a lot to Ben. And then having not been able to shake him off, really, it allowed James into the fight later on. And as soon as they got into a scrap together, I knew I could try and break away, which I managed to do towards the end.
And were you still running without traction control in this race? No, you have been throughout the season.
Was.
How was
of course
that?
I was. Yeah, it was fine. I mean, my rear tyres died, but that's okay. Yeah, it was just... It's been a bit of a learning curve. I wanted to do it for a couple of reasons. One of them was to make me a better driver, and it's definitely done that. So as far as I'm concerned, I've achieved that at least, which is nice. And besides, it kind of seems to be the way things are going to go in the future is to use your muscles rather than the electronics, which is a cool way of learning things. But yeah, it's been a good fun season. I look forward to the next one.
And in the next one, I hear that you might be staying with the VW group but switching stables across to Porsche.
Potentially. We've got to see what goes on. You never know what can happen. Things like you decide to add some custom BOP in, maybe. It opens up some older cars, which would be great. There's a bunch of older cars I've been wanting to try for ages, but as we've seen with Jack Noller, who's pretty much every bit a match for myself, James, and Ben in the V12, he's kind of been overshone a little bit just because the kit's let him down. So hopefully Bit Custom Bop will bring that back in, and you never know, maybe I could bring the old battle bus out onto the field again.
Well, thanks for joining us, Angus. Enjoy your off-season.
No worries. Good job on the broadcast, Cav. Well done.
And here we have our champion, Ben Gilroy. Congratulations on the championship. We haven't spoken to you since you won. How does it feel?
Feels good, thank you. It's nice that it's finally all wrapped up and finished.
And how was the race today? Was it a nice way to round off your championship winning season?
I mean, apart from the last few laps, it was great. I knew Angus was doing something in the second stint, but at least we had some good racing in the end, so that's all that matters.
And looking forward to next season, are you going to be back to retain your crown, and will you be in the McLaren again?
I think I might switch cars, but I don't think I'll put as much practice in next season.
Oh, it was a brilliant bout to watch, and we're just seeing that battle that went on for the lead on the highlight reel. Thank you so much for joining us, Ben. Congratulations on the championship. Enjoy your off-season.
Cheers, thank you.
And that's that for the 2023 BUSR Winter Championship. Thank you for joining, everybody. I've been Cav, you have been awesome, and can't wait to see you again in the new year for even more. Hey. Till next time, and next season, ACC. Bye-bye for now.